Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. It is my delight, my pleasure, and my delight to welcome today's guest who I'm chatting with. She's a friend of mine. She is a business partner of mine. Jen Millar is a functional medicine nutritionist and health coach. She is many other things, wears many other hats, one of which is co-owner and retreat center leader at Nereus Retreats in Costa Rica, which is where I do the February retreat that I do every year. And I'm just so happy to have her here and to chat with her and to share a little bit of our time with you. So welcome, Jen.
Thank you, Bram. Happy to be here.
It is so nice to chat with you. It's so nice to see you. It's been months and months.
Yes, likewise.
How have you been? How's it been over there? You're in your second full year at Nereus in the jungle in Costa Rica.
Just
how are you? How's everything going?
Everything's going very well. So we just finished our second season, you could say, and we're already looking forward now to our third season. And the high season here really is December to April, and we're already pretty fully booked with retreats for that period of 2026, which is very exciting.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Is that different from a year ago?
Yes, it is. It is different, and it's been interesting. We've been really thrilled to have people like you rebooking. You're coming back for your third retreat next year, and then new retreat leaders fill in those gaps too. And just it's always fun to see where people are coming from and how they hear about us, and the network sort of growing.
That's what I was going to ask, actually. Have you noticed whether it's social media or word of mouth? Like, what's your best marketing tool?
Word of mouth.
Is it?
Yes, we do get inquiries from the social media and just from people Googling and finding our website. But the majority of our retreat bookings come from word of mouth. So people like you sharing it with other group leaders.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Tell us how you even got into this. How did this happen? How did you find yourself in the jungle, the deep jungle of Costa Rica?
Well, it's sort of an accidental place to have found ourselves. But we did move to Costa Rica in 2010, and that was a very different time of our lives. And we had young kids, and we spent quite a few years living a different life. But during that period of time, I started deepening my training in yoga and Ayurveda, and then later the functional medicine, nutrition, and the health and wellness coaching. And of course, and then as our youngest child went off to college, we were looking for a new project, and we found this piece of property with this beautiful spot right on the beach in Costa Rica and these lovely buildings. And you could just see it. You could just see that we could create a space and what kind of business would work here. And sure, a hotel would work. And in fact, in our off weeks, we do operate. We are open as a hotel, and we're on like Expedia and Booking.com. But I really knew that the space was best suited to group, having groups together and creating that community with communal meals, and then having this beautiful classroom space. And it's not even just yoga programs that we have. We've had art retreats and a tango retreat. And a book retreat, that was fun. A book group came. So, and we've even had a couple of big family groups, like family get-togethers with, like multiple generations of the same family, grandparents and kids and grandkids, and everyone piles in. So we're a perfect space for just gathering and creating that opportunity to come together and have community. But our favorite really are the retreats, and having people like you come and bring your students, your guests, and each group has its own dynamic and its own personality. And each one is just fun. You get to spend time with people, and it's this from leading retreats. It's just really enjoyable to watch people who don't know each other come together and make deep connections and share experiences, and usually create lasting friendships.
Do you see that regardless of whatever the retreat is? Do you see people from all over just coming together and connecting?
Yes, definitely. And it's interesting. So someone like your students come from all over the place. You recruit or you attract students from places out with your immediate yoga and wellness community there in Montreal. And there we have other retreat leaders like that. But then some of our group leaders are coming from maybe a home studio or a home yoga community, and the majority of their people really are coming with them from wherever they're coming from. And then they might have a few other extras. And then things like a book group or an art group, they tend to be someone who's following the personality of the person, like the art teacher or the tango teacher. Though she brought students from all over the place. She was based in Austin, Texas, an Argentinian tango teacher, but her students were from all over the world. And so that was a good example, like yours, where people come from all over the place. It might be their first time encountering one another, and so yeah, new friendships, but they have that shared like interest because they've come for whatever the event is.
That's what I was going to ask you about. How fascinating is it for you to watch? I would imagine, at least in my experience of the retreats that I give, where I'm seeing people from all different walks of life, from all different demographics, different jobs, different everything. And they come together, and even especially the people who were nervous about going on a trip like this, a lot of times there are people they've got reservations. Number one, I'm traveling alone. I haven't done that. Number two, am I going to like people? Number three, are people going to like me? There's all these, psychological time-based questions that pop up. How fascinating is it for you to see that shared intention, whatever that shared intention is, whatever the theme of the retreat is? How fascinating is it for you to see all these people come together and start to coalesce? Do you even see the process, like day 1, day 2, day 3?
Definitely, you do. And you do have some retreat leaders. They're almost like a cult of personality. Like they're definitely attracting a certain type of student who come for what they're offering. And then you have other retreat leaders that attract more students who just like take a gamble and take a risk and say, this person looks interesting, I'm going to sign up for their retreat. And so then you see different types of students coming together. Those who really know what they're coming for, and it's maybe very specific to the program that's being offered. And those who are just like, hey, I'm going to try something new and meet new people and enjoy this amazing destination in beautiful nature in rural Costa Rica.
The whole concept of shared intention fascinates me because it immediately sort of silences the noise in many ways around conversations that normally would be had if that shared intention wasn't there. I find it fascinating. How much work is this for you?
It's a lot of work.
Is it more work than you thought it was going to be?
Well, no, I don't think it's more work than I thought it would be. And it's been interesting too to see what the direction the business is moving into. In the first year, I did more of my own programs. I hosted 4 yoga teacher trainings and then another one last year, as well as some continuing ed, Yoga Alliance aligned yoga trainings. And I thought there would be more of my own events because I can lead events as well. But then it's really moved into a business model where other teachers bring their groups and we're just kind of holding that space and creating, where we're co-hosting, where we're facilitating the event for them and creating the great food and background for it. And I like that. I'm really enjoying that because then I learn a lot. It's constant like professional development for me because every time a new teacher comes, I get a different expert in the room to listen to and get downloads from. And then I get to watch the dynamics of the students and hear their interactions and see them gaining all of the things that they take away from the program. And then you also just can't deny we're in this bucket list destination for nature. So people come and have the most extraordinary experiences right here in the jungle, and we're right on the beach. As you know, it's a stunning location. So most people spend their mornings on the beach with their coffee, watching the sunrise in awe. and then have their yoga practice if it's a yoga event. And then, and then the communal meals, as you know, just being able to sit communally and have meals together. It's a really beautiful experience.
And I need to put an emphasis on the food, because you would refer to the delicious meals. The food is next level. The care and the knowledge that you put into the food and where it comes from and how it's prepared, and even how it's served. I cannot stress. Number one, I cannot stress how good the food is. And this is not me trying to sell anything. This is me actually just giving credit where credit is due. That's number one. Number two, for those people who are listening to this who don't know where Nereus is down on the Osa Peninsula. This is, listen, I'll get real. I had gone to Costa Rica. I never know if it's Costa Rica or Costa Rica. I'm going to say, is there like a Costa? I don't know, whatever, Costa Rica.
People say it both ways.
Okay. I fluctuate. I don't, it's like when I come back from England and all of a sudden I've adopted some sort of lilt. I don't want to do that too often. I had been to Costa Rica in 2009 and wasn't blown away. I was like, okay, this is interesting. I don't need to come back here. And a couple of years ago, a mutual friend of ours told me about you and your husband and what you were doing there, opening this retreat center, and put us into contact. And I thought, I'll support them in their first year. I'll do a group. And honestly, and I've told you this before, it was the first time that I've ever done a wellness trip and thought, there's actually nothing in this for me. This is work. I'm not excited about going. I'll get it done. I'll come back. This is service. I'm doing something to help. And the flight from San Jose down to the Osa Peninsula to Puerto Jimenez, absolutely jaw-dropping wonder blew me away. It blew me away, and I thought, oh, hang on a second. And then I got there, and I was truly in another, like, not even another realm. It felt like I was on another planet. The beauty there is shocking. The fact that it's so far removed from the Costa Rica that I knew, it's a different experience. And I cannot stress enough for those of you listening, whether or not you come with me on retreat, you need to see this part of the world. It is not yet developed. And so it's one of those rare places on earth where there is real quiet, where there's real abundant natural beauty and biodiversity, where you can go onto the beach and walk for kilometers and you may see 3 people.
Yeah.
It is so magical. And honestly, it was that trip where I thought, first of all, okay, I just got schooled by life. I thought I knew what I was walking into. I had no idea. Number one. Number two, it taught me to say yes to things that I would normally say no to. And number three, I fell in love with you and your husband and the staff there, and just the bubble. Like, yeah,
the bubble.
It's just a bubble. We live in such a beautiful bubble of where time and space seem different. And it's a proper retreat. It's like you can properly unplug from life. It's so, honestly, I understand that there are logistics and decisions that brought you and your husband to doing it, but like, well done.
Oh, thanks, Brown.
And thank you for those of us who never would have experienced that if you wouldn't have done that. There's a lot of gratitude.
Well, and it really is such a incredible opportunity for people to have a total reset, that whole mind, body, spirit idea of reset, because all the things you described, the beautiful nature and the location and the setting, and then even the kitchen, the health supportive nature of the kitchen, and how the food philosophy, I get people at the end of every week. There isn't a group that I don't have at least one person come and say, I feel totally different. What's changed? What's different? Can you help me figure that out? And I love that. And then also periodically, in fact, there's a guest here right now who has celiac disease. People find us specifically because they have complicated food needs, dietary needs to support their health, and we can support that in a safe way. And as you say, the food is it doesn't compromise on flavor and variety. So, and we make the most of what nature's bringing us here and what we can get in Costa Rica. So that's one of my favorite parts too, is people get to the end of the week and they're like, they refer to it as the bubble, we refer to it as the bubble. We're always loath to leave our bubble. We always think, oh gosh, we have to psych ourselves up to, to leave the bubble, because it feels like that. Even though we're in work mode when we're here, we also completely appreciate waking up in this beauty every morning and having this opportunity to be here.
Two things. Number one, yes, about at least one person every group is like, okay, hang on a second, what's going on here? Why do I feel so good? Because that was me in February. Yeah. I had digestive issues for like over a year, thinking that it was dairy, thinking that it was, I don't know, just, life. And I quickly realized that I was gluten intolerant and had been sort of navigating that kind of inflammatory experience for over a year and a half. And it is important for people to know that everything there is gluten-free. Everything is gluten-free. And after 3 days of the meals, I was aware of the absence of discomfort.
Yes, that's a good way to describe it.
It was not normal for me to go 3 days without feeling my stomach kick up. And so when it did, and I thought, uh-oh. Because I have a friend who the whole time was saying, it's gluten. And I was like, no, it's not gluten. I'm fine. And it was gluten. And I'm very happy to report that being there with you all was the instigator for the change. And since then, the change has been consistent. And thank goodness. And there's such incredible gluten-free options everywhere.
Yes, there are, once you tune into that. And so a place like this is a really good opportunity for people to have that self-experiment if they suspect it, but they're kind of in denial, and they, like you were, and they're like, no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that it's gluten. Come here. You won't compromise on what you're eating. You won't feel like you're lacking or being deprived, and you'll have this whole week or more, depending how long people come. When I have yoga teacher trainings, they're 3 weeks, and I get people who really feel profound change at the end of it. And you are definitely not the only person who has removed gluten from their diet after being here for a week and having had a proper period of elimination for those 7 days, and noticed that their symptoms have gone. It's interesting, isn't it, to see? I'm not like an evangelist on gluten. It just happens to be.
No. And neither am I. In fact, it would be wonderful if I did not have to consider this. It would make my life a lot easier. But with that said, it's not as difficult as I thought it was going to be, especially when traveling, because traveling was a bit of a stress for me. But as you said, the food just because gluten is out of the equation does not mean that there is anything lacking. The food, I mean, listen, everybody who has come on both the trips that I've given has raved about the food. But the second point I wanted to make, the bubble, everybody felt it. Everybody felt it. The retreat that I did earlier this year there, everybody felt it. And that is what a retreat should be. That's what I believe, that if you're going to do a retreat, do it somewhere where, number one, the second you walk in, there is an energy. If we talk about these energy vortexes around the world, like this is one of them, and it feels like one of them. There's an energetic resonance.
Nature
there.
And the location are providing that as much as what you're describing. It's here.
Yeah. And just the canopy, being in the jungle like that, it's actually like you're just in a big terrarium, but it's like real.
Yeah, it's true.
There's no container aside from the sky.
It's Jurassic Park with Wi-Fi.
Yes, and without the dinosaurs, except there are some critters. Yeah, there's some beautiful, I mean, my God, the crabs. We still talk about the crabs.
Like the Halloween crabs. We're seeing the tapir now in the garden, and they're so
really?
Yeah.
That's kind of dinosaurish.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. So that's why I say it's kind of like maybe mini version of Jurassic Park.
Okay.
The foliage is just so outsized, and then
unbelievable. So it's a lot of work for all of you.
It's a lot of work, but we have an amazing team, and we've been really fortunate to sort of cultivate this small community within our team of so the support, the people helping in the kitchen, the garden, the cleaning, etc. We have an awesome team. We couldn't do without them.
And what do you do when you're not working? What do you do in your downtime there?
To be honest, we're just doing all the things the guests do. Every day I try to make sure I get to the beach, take a walk on the beach, whether it's walking the dog on the beach or just walking on the beach. I practice yoga every day in my beautiful shala. I have a beautiful classroom, as you know, and we use the space. We try to use all the tools that are here rather than just forgetting that they're here and getting into work mode all the time.
Oh, good. Because, I sometimes wonder when you live somewhere that is that beautiful, but differently beautiful.
Yes.
Right. I think that pretty much anybody can find beauty wherever they live. But when it's drastically different from, the view that I'm looking out at right now, at like a building, two buildings, some trees, a telephone pole. Yeah, I can find beauty here, but this is a different kind of beauty. The beauty there is, first of all, on an audio level, you're living in the white noise app.
Yeah,
the white noise apps are based on what that sounds like, especially in the yoga space. That yoga space is one of the most beautiful yoga spaces I've ever seen in my life. Just screened in the jungle. It's just unbelievable.
And you're right. But and the acoustics, like the crashing waves in the distance and the birds chirping and the monkeys, the howler monkeys, like it is this soundscape in the background with the air moving with all the fans and the bamboo floor and the screen, so you're not swatting mosquitoes while you're in Shavasana. I love the yoga space. And
when you say the waves crashing in the distance, I can hear it. That is so imprinted in my mind. It's a distant but mighty crash.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful there that I sometimes wonder if one lives in that kind of environment, do you become blind to it?
We talk about this a lot, that we don't take it for granted. It would be easy to take something like this for granted, and we definitely don't. There's awe in moments every day. The sloth that was in the garden for over a week, Stuart was out like interacting with the sloth like daily with his scope and sort of watching it. Whenever there's something new happening in the garden, and it's not just us, the team, everybody, you see them on their breaks walking out to check out the sloth or to look at the tapir footprints, or these green iguanas yesterday that made a mad dash into the saltwater pool. And we'd never seen that, these big, long green iguanas swimming like crocodiles. That was pretty
it's incredible.
Crazy, actually. These jungle moments, the nature moments.
I love the jungle moments. And I'll never forget that the first year I was there at like 10 p.m. coming out of my room to go down to the fridge to get some water and just seeing a huge, I guess a frog or a toad, some sort of amphibian, just like bathing on the first stair underneath the water in the pool, and just thinking, just get the water, keep walking, get the water. They're just these reminders that you're not home. And
yes, that's right.
And that was for me why it was so imprinting, because it was just I was so obviously not home. Everything was so beautiful and so different.
And it is easy to just shut off the sort of background noise of home because you are so far removed from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're not sacrificing comfort here too, because we have created hotel comfort in the rooms so that it's pretty incredible to live like on the edge of the grid basically, and still have things like air conditioning and hot water and all of those mod cons.
And listen, I love that you're saying that, because, and I'm sure that like this may make me a target to some people who just are desperate to be offended, but I want comfort. Right? If I'm going to go on a retreat, yes, I've been on retreats where yes, you sacrifice certain amounts of comfort because you're on a retreat. And I have to say that at your center, the beds are luxuriously beautiful. There is air conditioning for those who want it. Everything, the food, everything there is. I can't think of one thing that I was slightly uncomfortable with, and that's really what I want from a retreat center and from a retreat experience for students.
Absolutely. And people have limited time and money to invest in travel and these sorts of wellness experiences. And it's okay to want some creature comforts and not make it about austerity. It's about resetting. And so you want to be comfortable and sleeping well. And you can't really do that when you're sweating to death under a mosquito net and worried about the animals getting under the net and so it's just, and that's different. That has its place as well. And we're in a very strict conservation zone, and we still are very much aligned with with what is required and the values attached to that. So we managed to do all of this in a way that still has a minimal footprint
Yes.
on the environment.
Yes. And there's Wi-Fi, really functional Wi-Fi, considering
Yeah,
where
really
you are.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah. No, and listen, and again, I know that there are a lot of people in this industry that would find fault with what I'm saying, and they can go right ahead.
Yeah, likewise.
I'm still going to say it. I
And they'll
want
have their places. They can go and,
Yes.
there's plenty of centers and ashram style austerity that they can
yes.
serve whatever needs they have.
And for the retreats that I give, I recognize that there is enough emotional austerity going on with people. People are already facing certain fears. They're challenging parts of their mind that are telling them, yeah, but what if you go and you don't get along with people? And what if it doesn't go well, whatever? And they're still going. And honestly, I've been giving trips for 15 years now, on my own, 15 years. And I have never, ever had one person on any of my trips who has said, I wish I didn't do that.
Yes. And I don't think we've had anyone come through here. They haven't said it to us. Everyone takes away something different from their experiences, but mainly they go away happy and content with having had the opportunity to try this.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to the container that you and Stuart offer, and then the container that whoever the teacher is who comes offers. I think it's sort of a joint container ring, if that's a thing.
Yes, yeah, it is true. It's a good support. We make good teams with the teachers who come in. We don't just stand back like a hotel, an anonymous hotel. We really support the process and stay engaged where appropriate when asked to, and also step back when needed. We try to find the balance of what they would like.
Right. So let me ask you a question. You're going into your third season. Yes. What have you learned?
Oh gosh. That's a hard question, Bram.
I know.
I've learned so many things. Definitely have learned, again, that this idea of not taking for granted the opportunity to be in this tremendous space. And even when there have been some challenging moments, big extreme weather bringing damage to buildings, or maybe a bad review that sort of ruins your day, or whatever it is, the trials and tribulations of running a small business in a remote location. We've learned to just kind of ride those waves and know that we'll get to the next thing. And most of the time it really is great. Between our team and the kind of guests we get, we don't really get people that aren't wonderful. We're happy to see people returning. We're very fortunate that we've just had some wonderful people come.
Listen, I think like attracts like, and I also think that it's pretty impossible to be miserable in that location.
That's true.
just a personal opinion. I think that listeners need to know that about 30 years ago, like mid-90s was when I first started traveling on my own. And I was an extremely anxious traveler, extremely hyper aware of the distance that I was creating between home and where my body was. And for a couple of years, allowed that anxiety to lead. And I can honestly say that for anybody who, is considering going to Costa Rica and isn't sure, or is listening to these words and thinking, oh, hang on, the image is frozen. Let me turn my camera off and see it. There we go. Okay, unfrozen. For anybody who's thinking of going and traveling on their own or joining an existing retreat and is having, reservations or hesitation, I think it's important for people to know that as someone who used to be a very anxious traveler and needed there to be a certain amount of stability in place and a certain amount of comfort in place, you have created a destination that does that. It does all of that. And that was one of the things, it was one of the pieces of criteria that I needed in making the decision as to whether I would keep coming back, because I know that I get students every now and again who are unsure.
Yeah.
Socially awkward, or just insecure, or just nervous travelers, especially those who are nervous flyers, who are nervous about the flight from San Jose down. I mean, there's always a handful of people who come on my trips who do it, and in all cases have done it and have thought how beautiful that flight was, and it's and how quickly it's over. So I just want to thank you for doing what you've done and for creating this space that, I mean, I get to enjoy and that I get to bring people to enjoy, and not just to enjoy, but to be in that container so that they discover more about themselves. I actually, hang on a second. I wrote something down yesterday on a note on my phone. Hang on a second here. If you want to find out more about yourself, leave where you're from and go somewhere else. And I have to say that Nereus really provides that somewhere else so that you can learn more about yourself. So thank you for doing it, and thank you for your friendship and for working with me, and for, you know, on behalf of everybody that you do work with and everybody that you've given food to and accommodation to and space for them to find out more about themselves. Thank you, really.
Oh, and thank you, Bram. We have really developed a lovely friendship the past few years too, because of this shared experience, and I really value that. And thank you for all of your kind words and the fact that you keep coming back. We love that.
Well, and I will. And again, just to reiterate something that was sort of skimmed over, for those of you who aren't interested necessarily in a retreat of any sort, Nereus is open as a hotel as well during certain periods of the year. And so, listen, just check them out.
Yes,
thank you for listening.
You can go straight
to
our website, and it's also, we're on things like Expedia and Booking.com, but Booking Direct's always preferable, and you can, if there's availability, it means there's not a retreat in, and we're open as a hotel. Generally, May to December, it's more hotel mode. The retreat season's really January to April, predominantly.
Okay. And for those of you who are interested in joining me on our next retreat, February 6th to 14th, 2026, we will be back there in paradise in our bubble to get our yearly fix. And believe me when I say,
coming with Bram. Look forward to.
But I do need people to understand that, like, even if you don't come with me, you've got to check this place out, because it is, I've just never seen anywhere in the world like it, truly. And I've traveled.
Bram, that's so great.
So yeah. Listen, thank you everybody for watching, for listening, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Take care, everybody.
Yeah.